Hello. You have landed on the web page of the DweeBros podcast for the month of May 2022. How are you? Are you watching this in the future when things are even better? Are you watching this? Well, you'd only be watching in the future.
Someone could be watching from the past.
If you're like a time traveler, I guess.
I wouldn't rule it out.
I wouldn't be my first thing I would do, but welcome to the DweeBros podcast. I am Zach. I'm joined by not time traveler, but friend, Travis.
Hello.
We're missing Jacob. I think he might be tinkering around with his own time machine tonight, figuring out how to travel through time. But we're going to be talking the present. We're not interested in anything old or new. We are trying to live in the present day.
It's kind of a bad time to live in the present day for video games.
Yeah, it could be better, but we also talk movies. We also talk TV shows. And if you stick around long enough, we might be talking hentai tonight.
Hentai politics, I think, probably.
Hentai update. So if you watched an older podcast, I found what I didn't know at the time was hentai, and I purchased it. I have an update on that hentai. So stick around. I mean, if that is not a plug, I don't know what is.
Wasn't it a VHS tape?
It was a VCD.
But it was a physical media.
Yeah, it was a physical VCD disc, which I don't even know what it was. Some Japanese or Chinese only. I've never heard in the States them having. I don't know if it was a different markets that had these VCD players, but I didn't have one, but they did.
I'm curious what the update is because...
Well, you got to stay tuned. That's why you have to watch.
You know, it's a physical thing. So either you watched it again or somebody reached out.
It's an update on me having that.
Okay.
Not an update on the graphics.
You got further into it.
Yeah, I got further into it. No, I said I really liked the series. It was 2 episodes. But thank you for joining. We did play some video games. Even in the desert of this year, we're waiting on some things to come out. It's kind of weird right now because a lot of stuff has gotten delayed. A lot of people have come out and said, see you in 2023. Other stuff we're just kind of waiting to hear back on.
Yeah.
I think we were just talking about the other day that new God of War. I saw there's some leaks on the merchandise that might be coming out this year still. So we might be getting that. But other than that, until this Summer Games Fest or whatever, what's big stuff that's coming out this year? I don't know.
There's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
I would say last year we always talked about what is game of the year because it was a lot of B's. It was a lot of that was good, but it doesn't feel like game of the year. This is the inverse. Yeah. There's one behemoth that we're all playing and continue to play, and then a whole lot of tumbleweeds.
Yes. So this year's good on that front, but what else is going to come out? Summer's Game Fest, we do live stream stuff, and we're going to be live streaming the Summer Games Fest. I don't know what they did one last year, which I didn't watch at all. But now that E3 is done, I feel like this is kind of the big thing.
Sam and I covered the one last year for the channel.
That's what that was. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know if that was a different thing.
Sam, if you any of you guys watched that last year, my buddy Sam and I, we played probably
you played through the games.
We played 12 games and did a 3-hour review of the stuff that stuck out to us.
So it seems like I don't know if they did this last year because E3 did happen last year. I think it was very not as much as. It wasn't in its normal form. I feel like I couldn't even tell you what happened on E3 last year.
No, I think I'm thinking of the indie festival.
Yes, because I was like, how are you playing it? No. This is they're announcing stuff or whatever, and Jeff Keighley. But now that E3 is just not happening, which I've been seeing threads online and stuff. People this is the time we'd be looking at memes and people would be making GIFs and having Sony and Microsoft's head over all these.
It's sad.
And I was like. That was so, and I had another friend, and he actually showed up on one of the streams. Derek, shout out Derek. He texted me the other day, and his daughter was asking him about E3, like what was E3 like all this stuff.
Oh my
like,
gosh!
And he was like, those were so fun of days of like we would get nothing done at work. Like we'd be sitting there and stream all day. We would just be like,
we'd be on vacation and we would be watching it in the car
and the hype
drive.
And the level of like, oh my gosh, they've announced this, and like our reaction videos and stuff. It's like, man, like I wish they would have figured out E3 this year. But the Summer's Game Fest, maybe, I mean, the Game Awards is still really fun. I feel like that's the only thing holding on.
Yeah.
So Summer's Game Fest, if they can hold off on that.
Are there any Sony, does Sony plan to do any, they didn't do anything last year, even not associated with E3.
They just have been going the Nintendo route and just doing little directs, which is called the State of the Play.
But the difference is Nintendo still does a direct around E3.
Yeah.
Even if they're not at E3, Sony didn't do anything last year.
Yeah, they spread out everything throughout the year. They're like, here's this or whatever. Man, and all of the PSVR news, and maybe I think we will get one big video form, like update or whatever. But all of the PSVR 2 news has been articles on their website. And they're like, here's the thing, and here's a picture of it. And it's like, man, I wish you'd give me a flashy video and stuff. But I think there actually has been one. They showed Horizon, the new Horizon VR game that they're coming out with it. But, man.
Oh, they're doing a Horizon VR game?
Yeah. And it looks really cool. They showed like gameplay of it.
I need to finish Forbidden West. I need to hop back into that.
It's forbidden.
I think I talked about in the podcast my feelings.
It just came out. It did the same thing when it came out Breath of the Wild time. And it was like, I'm just going to be playing Breath of the Wild. And this time it came out during Elden Ring. It's like, well, I'm going to be playing Elden Ring.
It did the same thing as that. And it just didn't feel very joyful to play. It felt so like...
Yeah, that was one of the games I turned back to Amazon. I said, take this back from me.
I was kind of shocked when you did that because...
It just immediately, I knew I'd made a mistake once I started playing into it. I was like, this is not for me. Like the way I enjoy games, I was like, this is not, I'm never going to get joy from this.
Does it make you doubt even your original opinion of the first game?
No.
Or do you still feel like that was
I just felt like it was a copy paste of the first game and it took longer. Well, I immediately was
took longer to get to the fun.
And I was like, what am I doing here? I forget all of the first stuff.
They did the cardinal sin of sequels, which is just expect you to remember all these people.
Yeah.
And it's not like they mixed them in.
Recap. I need a really good recap. And I don't know. But let's talk about what we did play. We just said we're all about the present. We talked all future.
And a little past at the end. So let's go present.
Yeah, we have to go back to present.
You know what's the present? Bloodborne demake.
We went back. Okay, back to the past again.
That's weirdly present.
So if you have not seen, we do a show every Thursday night, unless craziness happens, where I will have different guests on the show. Shout out Pierce, shout out Matt, our friends Matt and Pierce, and Travis joined me this past week, and we did the Bloodborne demake. It's a fan demake. They took Bloodborne and they made it look like an old PS1 game, and we streamed it. You can check that out. But quick little thoughts on that. That was an awesome thing for 4/5 of it, and that last half, they made you go through the sewer and find this key and do all this stuff, and it was agonizing. It just was like, it totally sucked the wind out of the whole thing. And
it gives you an appreciation for that delicate balance those games all walk, that they never have a part that's quite that bad.
Yes.
But yeah, like it was awesome.
It really demaked. It really went back to like a PS1 game where it's like, find the weird thing to open this door.
And the sewer that never ends.
Yeah, so maybe they were going for that feeling of dread of like, I don't want to play this anymore.
Our enthusiasm was just sucked out.
Yeah, but let's just talk about that other 4/5 of it that was awesome. Like it just was so fun, and it felt like you'd get to this part and you'd be like, I know where you're at. Now he did like take some liberties and connect, because it made it like an old PS1 game. You'd have loading screens and like every couple things, and he kept with those restrictions, which was cool. But you would be like, that's not right. Like, where's the level? Like, you had just played it fresh in your mind. Like, nope, go right, I guess. Like, you're trying to guide me and stuff.
It was like 2/3 the way you remember, and then there's a weird hallway that goes a different way and stuff like that.
But I want to speak even more highly on the graphics. the emulating that old PS1 like jitter of like how they render the graphics on PS1, like that would I never noticed as a kid, but the graphics would just shake.
Yeah, the dithering.
They were dithering, and you can look up. Is it Modern Vintage Gamer did a whole thing on why that's happening? Look up Modern Vintage Gamer.
He's got a fantastic video about it,
and he goes into more detail. But the way that just is nostalgic now of like how that looks. It looks fricked up, and they nailed that look in this game. And you can change the CRT effects and how it looks. I think are the best I've ever seen because emulators. I know they have to do it across the board. Like they have like scan lines and stuff, but this is tailored for this game, and it looks incredible. Like I hope that he would like work with some of these like emulators and like get that working. I don't know.
If you could get his filter from this game,
he nailed it. It looked really cool, but that was really cool. And he's coming out soon with a Bloodborne cart, which I thought was funny. Again, like a nod to back in that era of
like, a sewers map
of like Diddy Kong Racing and Crash Team Racing and all these like kart racing games that came out. So yeah, we'll go through the series again. Get the key to finish the race. Bloodborne demake, pretty cool.
Do you think that with that demake, because like I've always wondered what is the most popular of their games, and Bloodborne has a big following, but I was just like, I think it's still Dark Souls at the end of the day.
Yeah,
there is an undying love people have for specifically Bloodborne.
Yeah,
even though it's not my favorite, I like it a lot.
Because that's the first one. I think Elden Ring hit critical mass, mainstream, whatever.
Yeah,
but I think Bloodborne is second on that totem pole of like. Because there's people that we know and whatever have seen that aren't really into Souls games. Like, oh, I played Bloodborne. Like, that was one I think more people just touched and they never touched a Souls game.
I think you're right.
But
I think you're right about that.
I think went critical mass. I think Elden Ring actually destroyed it and, like, gaining everybody that we knew played.
I think you're right about that, but it's just weird to me because, like, Dark Souls has lifetime, like, 10 million sales and Bloodborne has lifetime 3 or 4 million.
Yeah.
Because it's PS4 only.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that can't play Bloodborne because they don't play console or they don't have PlayStation. So it's still kind of weird. It's like super loved, but it's also not exposed to the widest audience it could have.
Yeah.
They release that thing on PC. It's going to go crazy after Elden Ring.
I think they will at some point.
Yeah.
Which Sony is doing that now, which I think is a perfect strategy for them, in which Microsoft is releasing like day and date with the Xbox with their PC stuff. Sony has a console to like, foster. So it's like, it makes sense. Like, hey, new God of War's coming out. Here's the old God of War on PC and stuff. And we like our friend Alex or whatever is like loving that God of War game. And he doesn't really play PlayStation or whatever. And it's like, he's getting experience of that. And I think it's going to push people to get the PlayStation. It's a perfect.
I think they're doing it smart.
It's like an ad. It's like, well, I want to play the new one. Okay, I have to buy the console wait another year and a half or two.
Yeah. Well, and if they do release Returnal next, like it's rumored, I was nervous that they would always wait 3 or 4 years because that's a long time. Waiting a year, I think, is fair. I think that's the perfect amount.
Yeah.
So
I think that gives enough people. It's like, I don't know if I want to wait a year. My friends are all playing right now. They'll buy it, But
yeah,
Sony, you're smart. Also did a hangout with Jacob. You can check it out on the channel. We did VR games, and he totally sold me on the Oculus Rift 2. It was totally wireless. I was just shocked, like, that we were streaming wirelessly to his computer, and then we were streaming that, like, to our, like, Twitch and YouTube. Like, that was just working so fluidly, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, everything is just working great. We played Blood and Sorcery. I think that was the game. Yeah. And we played Beat Saber. And we only did Linkin Park songs. And you can check it out. It's still up, I think. When I didn't even notice, I was like, yeah, let's play. That'd be fun. And then I was like, oh, shoot, copyright. Because it's all these copyright songs. And we only did Linkin Park songs. And we just sped them up by 2 times and went, hope that the algorithm doesn't find this or hope that it doesn't whatever. And it's still up. So you can check out. We beat the record labels.
Yeah, there you go. That's the way to do it. Speed it up a little bit, slow it down.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Chipmunk it, make it slow, make it sound like a monster, whatever you're gonna do. But played that Blood and Sorcery game. I feel like Oculus and all the PC VR is you can just go wild. There's Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, all this crazy stuff that you can't get on PSVR.
Yeah.
PSVR though, I've played the most of, and I'm playing through like all these like very catered like well produced like titles and like, I'm loving all this. But PC's where you go for nuts, wackadoo stuff. Like you're just seeing like the craziest stuff that people get to make, and it's so like it's always on the frontier. Like what is this? And someone's trying this, and it's fresh. Whereas PSVR, it's like very okay. Here's this new title we've cleared through, and this is like much faster updates and much faster.
Are you thinking of buying an Oculus 2?
Yeah, I think I am because
you might have 2 VR headsets.
Yeah, I think they each serve a really good purpose. And I also am going to get the PSVR too. But this one, I was shocked how much I really enjoyed it. I loved the feature of like the pass through, where and like also this was like killing my mind though. He was like, "Hey, get close to me." He was like, "Just lean over, lean over," and I leaned over. And once you go past like the safety zone or whatever, the real world starts melting into the vision of the game.
Oh my god!
Like if you're bending over, say I like the space, the play space is right here. If I bent over like this, my right eye would start to like see, like it would come into view the room, and then once I come back in, I would go back into the video game. It worked perfect. It worked awesome. Then we like put a battery pack in our back pocket, like a big one he had, and like had that wire just go in there, and then like we could just play wirelessly, and it worked great. So, thank you, Oculus. It was really fun.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Been playing anything?
I've been playing one thing. Elden Ring. I'm towards the end of it. It's a big ass game.
Yeah.
With no intentions of letting you wrap it up quickly.
Yeah.
I'm at 106 hours. I'm working. So part of why maybe it's taken me, I always do this though, is I'm trying to just do all the trophies on the first run.
Yes.
I haven't really had to go do anything I wouldn't do otherwise. It's just been fighting bosses, exploring areas. I may have to do some cleanup at the end, but I'm on probably the last optional area. I got one boss left in there, and then I got the crumbling Ferrum. I've explored some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah, you're towards the end.
I've killed the duo that are in there, and then I think there's 2 more bosses in there, and then I think I go fight somebody back at the Capitol.
Yeah.
So I've got like 4 or 5 bosses left.
Yeah.
And like maybe half an area with the crumbling Ferrum.
So I just beat it before this podcast, like
an hour ago,
a little bit ago, and I was ready to like beat it. I was ready to go through it. Yeah, I freaking loved it, and I will like not play it for a couple days, but I'm gonna jump back in on the optional stuff, and I will like still play online with people and stuff. Like I actually am still not sick of it. I'm gonna like wait a couple days, and I'm gonna try out some other games I'm wanting to get to, but I'm not putting it down. Like I'm actually gonna like keep that in the PS5. And it's like that's my game. But maybe it's because of the like the famine we're in of games too. It's like
not anything compelling.
Yeah, there's nothing new. I'm really checking out. There is something else I did play. Is that it on Elden Ring, or is there like?
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, also incredible game. But I think I beat it in 89 hours is what I took, and I was like at level 120. I think is where I was at.
Such a big game.
So I played Nintendo Sports Switch. Also did a Hangout 4. Very fun. I think it's just like it's fun to get Wii Sports back. They added some new. There's like this sword game. I forgot the name of it, but like there's like a foam sword or whatever, and you're trying to like push the person off. But what it is like you are using the Joy-Con, and if I hit you and you're not guarding like this, and you're guarding like this, when I hit you, you go back.
Oh wow!
So it's the game of like fast reaction of like if you are swinging like this, I need to block like this.
Wow!
And like so like you'll just sit there and move back and forth really quick and like try to catch it. So me and Matt did that and had a good time. But bowling's back. They're adding golf later. I wish golf would have been there now, but
does it is it like 2-player? Like you can each hold a Joy-Con and play?
Yeah, I think you can do that. We didn't do the local and stuff. I haven't checked that out, but we did online. But I think you can. Yeah, I think that's local and stuff too. But the online I've heard, I didn't do it. I just played with Matt or whatever. He was like, these people are extremely good. They're already really good. So be prepared to get your butt kicked on there. But awesome. I bought the physical edition, which came with a And I had this already through that fitness game. I forgot the freaking name of it.
Ring Fitness. I want that.
That is incredible. And so I work out every day, and I do strenuous workouts. That kicked my butt.
I want to get that.
That kicks my butt. Like, that is no joke, and it's very, very good. Like, if you want to like have a workout routine, it's like, well, I like video games, and it like incentivizes like you're leveling up. Like,
I've heard it's phenomenal.
It is incredible. Ring Fitness. I forgot the name of it.
One of the journalists at Giant Bomb put that like as their game of the year.
Yeah,
and like fought for it to be on the list when it came out. They were like, "This changed my life."
Yeah, because it is no joke. It's not like, oh, do some sit-ups and stuff. Like, that thing that they tell you to do and the motion stuff, like, I was like, frick, this is fricking me up. Like, it's messing me up. Like, and I work out every day, so, but it is very good. But that comes with a strap for like running, and like that's how you like move in that world.
Yeah.
Like, you move along like a set path and like fight stuff. But in Wii Sports or Nintendo Sports Switch, that's a mouthful. You put that on and it can work for soccer. So you can kick and stuff, and it can like but we played soccer without that for like online, and it was really fun. Like, it's kind of like Rocket League, and like, but you're like running and like hitting the ball, and like you can jump up and like hit it with your head and block it. It was really fun. It's a fun little
You may have sold me on this. This sounds like fun.
And I think it's a good, if you have people over, I think that's because like the Wii U had that freaking Nintendo Land, Wii Sports on the Wii, of course, and I think this is theirs. Like, I think Nintendo Switch Sports is a good group game, party game. Bring that out. I think everybody would have a lot of fun.
Nice. No, it'd be nice to have something other than Smash and Mario Kart.
Yes. I think that's another like good group game.
And 1-2 Switch, of course.
Yeah, 1-2 Switch. I think I bought 1-2 Switch because that was all.
You either bought it or somebody got it for you for Christmas or something. I remember you had that, and somebody bought that for you.
I think so. And that game just didn't do it for me.
It was a dud.
It was kind of cool, but I think it was full price, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was $60.
Yeah.
That should have been a pack-in.
Yes.
It's like Astrobot could have charged money and they didn't. That's the opposite.
That should have been a pack-in, yeah, but it wasn't.
Because it demoed like the vibrate. I think that the special vibration on the Switch is such a miss.
Yes,
now we have like the PlayStation.
Yeah, it was kind of cool at first. It was like, okay, this is going kind of the controller. I think it was the beta for the PS5 controller. The PS5 controller was so good, it's knocked me back from like I was getting third-party games on my PC, but once I like experienced the PS5 controller, I was like, "Oh, this is like a draw to me now." I never thought that was going to be a next-gen like draw to me, and I was like, "I want to play third-party games on this and feel the trigger and feel that like that resistance and stuff." Like, it's just really cool, but
it's very immersive.
But that is video games. I think
that might be record time for our video games.
Yeah. We didn't really play a ton, but like I said, every Thursday we check out new stuff. We do some on the Hangouts, so stay tuned for that in June. But we had some video game news, and then we can maybe get to hentai.
I'm down for that.
Death Stranding 2 is coming, thanks to Norman Reedus, who, sang like a canary.
They didn't even have to put pressure on him.
No pressure. They just asked him, and like, and you had a good point when we talked about this. It was like, what a bummer because he keeps stuff so tight to the chest, Kojima. Yeah. But you made a good point. It was like, well, these movie people, they're not like that. They immediately tell you like, oh, this is being worked on. Like, and the game industry is extremely secretive because there is a hype kind of culture around it, which is fun. I mean, that's what we kind of like do our live streams and our reactions. But he let it. The cat is out of the bag. So
and I think that he probably would be shocked because like they announce Star Wars movies that never get made. The second they hire a guy to maybe try to write something in Google Docs
this is in
for
the
it.
Works.
Hey, this guy's working on it. That could mean somebody like had a conversation on coffee and they said, "Yeah, we're going to pay you for a month the stipend. You come in and work on that with our group." Like, so it's funny.
So that's coming in. I think that's weird. Because I think we were talking, I was like, what is that going to be? Because I never felt from finishing Death Stranding, I was like, oh, what's going to happen next? But I think you could say that maybe too when Metal Gear 1 came out and Metal Gear 2 is like, I remember Kojima was going to retire after 2. He was like, okay, 2's the last one. Okay, 3's the last one. And like, was like, so maybe, maybe similar things. Maybe once we play, it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be a no dumb.
If we know anything about Kojima, it will have parts of the same DNA, but it will have a completely different scenario. Because Metal Gear game to Metal Gear game
are very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
And it won't be a copy paste. Like, I'm sure it'll still be the hiking kind of gameplay, and you're probably going to be carrying stuff, but he'll mix it up. It will be different. I would just like some more actual stealth zones and missions.
Yeah, that was...
And a tighter combat sandbox if there's going to be combat.
This game was a really crazy cool experience, but the gameplay Metal Gear Solid 5 kept me like coming back for more, and I got to do this, and how am I going to, 5-star this mission? Whereas Death Stranding, it's like after 45, 50 hours of dragging boxes, I get it. Like
it was very fun once, but I felt no desire to perfect any of those walks.
Yes, I was like, that seems like a job. The entire game is kind of a fetch quest. Like you are going and getting stuff, but the fighting the scenery and finding the best way to store your stuff and not get it damaged. Like that was fun. It was a puzzle in itself, but once you're 50 hours in, you're like, run to this mountain, which is all the way across the map, and run back. It's like, God, it just feels like a chore. That said, I still loved that game, but Death Stranding too.
I'll be excited. I'll be excited to see it. I'd be lying if I didn't say I'd be down for Kojima to do something else.
Yeah.
Because Death Stranding always felt to me kind of like he had 6 different ideas for years, and he was finally like blowing his load.
Yeah.
And part of me was like, that's a palate cleanser. Then he'll do something maybe more focused for him and his next thing, and that could be his next saga. Death Stranding always felt to me like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a franchise, but it's going to be a franchise, so let's see what he does.
Yeah.
There's a lot you could do with that world, too, because like we don't really know much about the broader... I mean, that game was such a cool celebration of like America in a weird way. Mm-hmm. Like with like you're basically walking across the country.
Yeah.
Which again is probably one of my favorite things about it. It's like a microcosm of America. Mm-hmm. You could do other I just think he wouldn't do something that simple though. Now we're doing it in Europe. Like he's just not that kind of director. He's gonna mix it up. So
I mean, it could be, the beginning of those things showing up, or like
it could be
what caused that or something. I don't know, but. Go back Metal Gear Solid 3 style.
We could.
With Naked Snake.
That's a game I've been thinking about wanting to go back and play again. Metal Gear Solid 3. I don't think I really feel like replaying 1 or... Not that I'm against replaying 2.
I've thought about going back and replaying all of those 3D ones again. I have no desire to go back to Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2.
Once was good for me.
I had fun. That is a one and done.
Kenny and I sat. Did I ever tell you that? Kenny and I played through those. I think you came over once when we were playing them on the MGS3 collection.
Yeah.
And those were the perfect, just sit with a friend, hang out 3 or 4 sessions, look up the guide, and get through it. Metal Gear 2 was pretty cool, actually.
Metal Gear 2 is cool. Metal Gear 1 is like, it's a game, and it has little DNAs of like where it's going. The Metal Gear 2 is legit cool, and the graphics are better, and I like Metal Gear 2, but I would never play it.
Yeah, no, I'm good. If I play 1 again, it'll be Twin Snakes, I think. I like 1, but I've played it so many times. Yeah, hentai. Yeah, I crushed it. Yeah, I stopped your... You just keep wanting to steer back into the oncoming
and it's
traffic.
You know what? I've hyped this up. Now, it's probably not. It's just going to be a bust.
Well, you got your pervert.
It's just I'm basically blue balling you guys with hentai.
This is a children's podcast.
I marked the children's can watch this video. Yeah. Sorry, children.
Sorry, children's.
But I wanted to update. I had closure on this. So I mentioned in a past podcast, I watched this, found out it was indeed hentai I got from a yard sale. Got hentai from a yard sale. Watched both episodes. I said I understand it. I said I'm not for it, or that's not me. I'm not buying hentai every week. But I get it. I watched it and went, I get the whole experience now. It makes sense.
It's okay. I see what you guys are doing.
I was nodding my head, and I was like, I finally get the hype. But I was like, I'm selling this. So it was sitting on, on eBay or whatever, and finally I do want an update. That's the thing too, is I didn't know what the price of this thing was. It was this old VCD thing. I don't even know what the format, whatever, but somebody did bite, and someone bought it for around $30. So,
man,
so thank you.
You got everything you could get out of that.
Yeah, I got my enjoyment, and
a new discovery, and $30.
Now
you're giving back.
I did feel it's such a weird item that you just don't see, because I looked on there and there was nothing, because usually you can look on there and it's like, okay, here's what this is selling for on eBay, get an idea. No one is posting that like copy of like a physical copy of this 2-episode hentai. But I was like, what I do when I'm like doing game collections and stuff, and I'm like, there's certain items, you can save searches on eBay. And what that'll do is it'll notify you via email or your phone if somebody posts something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can like, if you've been waiting forever, so there's like certain games where you'll only see those maybe 3 times a year.
So
like,
you telling me somebody saved a search for this hentai and then you posted it? They said, "Oh my God, it's up." It was their E3.
Yeah, like
it's live. Get it?
Live. I think I did for someone what people do for me when like there was a Game Boy box.
There was a nostalgia for somebody.
I was waiting forever, and it was Animaniacs. And somebody posted, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, should I buy this? And I went back through and I saw on like price charting or saw on eBay, I was like, these come up 2 sold last year. And I was like, yeah, like, and I bought it. So it's like, that was that thing. I got notified or whatever. So I wonder if somebody was looking for this and they got the notification.
What a sweet, like, little pervert story. He's been waiting and waiting.
Hentai is here. But I'm glad that I gave back, and that guy or girl is enjoying that. The way I enjoy Game Boy boxes is how he's probably the same thing that I do when I get Game Boy boxes.
Proud little shelf, yeah.
Is what he's doing with that hentai right now.
What do you do with Game Boy boxes?
He's doing the same thing I do when I get them.
You have to elaborate.
The same? No. No elaboration needed.
This has been our hentai update for the month.
This has been the hentai update.
Do you think there's going to be a part 3 to this?
If I buy more hentai. Now, here's the thing. No, there's not. There's not.
I was going to say, you are strongly considering if this is something you want to say.
Now, I will say, I did go to... Oh, okay, not hentai update, but I did explain I was finding a lot of porn.
Playboys
and stuff. And I even had a conversation with the porn connoisseur at one of these places saying, you should buy all that. And I didn't. But I bought the hentai instead. But so when I travel around, I like hit up like weird thrift stores and stuff in different areas. Like I travel out of the city and stuff a couple hours for work. And recently... I was in this way out in like Indiana farmland and area, and there was an antique mall, and I had like 40 minutes to kill before I had like work to do. And I was like, okay, I'll run in here. I ran this antique mall, and there was a thing off to the side that said, come down to the treasure trove. Like you're going to find something. You're going to find something down here. And, I went down there, and it is it's like a basement. It's an unfinished basement cellar. And it was just me in the store because it was like a weekday or whatever. So I'm down there alone. It's like the ceiling is right here on my head, and I'm down there and I'm looking around. I'm like, this is very spooky vibes. Like, I think this is haunted or whatever, but I'm walking around, and sure enough, I look in a tub and there is porn down in this. So I'm in this creepy
unfinished basement,
and no one else is down there. There's only one exit out of this place, and I'm looking around and I see, porn. I did not get it, but I did thumb through it to see if there was any
hentai.
Any good. Hi,
let me just double check. Why does it have to be in the creepiest part of the building?
Yeah, I don't know.
Treasure trove. That sounds like kids. Come on down.
And you know what it was? going down there, have you ever seen that thing that looks like Jesus' face on the shroud of like whatever?
Yes, yeah.
That was looking at me when you went down into that basement. Into
Like that face?
Yeah, that face.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they had that on the wall like in a frame.
Oh my God. They were like really trying to make
I don't know what was going on with that antique mall.
Have some self-confrontation as you walk down there.
Yeah, I didn't buy anything.
So then you just, you just finished what you had to do and came back upstairs.
I said, I'm good, guys. We're out. But
what a mess.
That was really funny. This will tie in with the next like topic we'll talk about. But I posted a new video in episode 2 of video game hauls. I didn't know what the name of it was at first, but last year at the very end of the yard sale season, I posted like these crazy finds I had, and I just posted episode 2 of that. You can check that out on the channel. But I forgot where I was going with that. So I was talking about like how I resell and stuff online, and like stuff like whatever, like some games, and I collect games. Like I was collecting games and I can resell the other ones, but at that antique mall. And heads up, this is for you people if you sell on eBay. I had heard about these before, but they're called jarts. Have you heard of jarts?
What are like jean shirt?
No, they're it was an old game from the 70s or 60s or maybe I think even like the 50s. I think it was the time period of 50s to 70s. And they were going on eBay for like $300 if you could find these things. Because they don't sell them because they're like dangerous. They're like sharp, extremely sharp darts, and you play it in the yard. And like you have these rings and stuff, and it's in this box, and it's called jarts with like on the front of it. And eBay just recently banned those. Like you cannot sell those. So it was funny, like when I was like, look, because I've never seen them in person, and it was at that antique mall, and it was like price cut, and it was like, because I think they like were trying to sell on eBay too. Some of these antique malls have like they sell on eBay and they sell in the store. They're like price cut because it's like they cannot get rid of the jarts.
Why
anymore,
won't eBay let you sell them?
I think because they're just a dangerous item. It's like a sharp knife weapon thing. Like it's ungodly dangerous, and like kids would be like yay and like throw this thing, but it's like they're huge. And they're almost like those little like Nerf footballs, but think of a sharp knife on the end, like throwing through. So do not buy jarts to resell. You'll get eBay will shut you down immediately. And it was funny when you even search jarts, it's like a T-shirt that says jarts on it is all that you can buy. Like, I'll show my love for jarts, but I cannot find them anywhere.
I almost think that's something that's worth buying because if you can't sell it on eBay, it's going to become like a really wanted thing.
Yeah, you can only get it at like antique malls and local.
Could become rare.
Yeah. And you can only play it once with your little cousin.
Did you buy the jarts?
No, I left the jarts. I left it jar.
Left the jarts and left the board.
I left the jarts jar and
I
jot out of there.
Kept your self-respect.
Yeah. I'll take the jarts and this porno, please.
That's a chaotic. That's an unhinged combination.
Yes, police. There's a man that just bought these items. But that is your update. I didn't put it down on like our notes or whatever, but Better Call Saul just ended they're doing a weird thing. They did a mid-season finale, but they're starting back up in July. So it just ended, and then episode 7 is coming back at the end of July.
It's an intermission.
Yeah, it's like a couple weeks intermission. So, but that was really, really good. Very similar feelings I have to that as I had to Breaking Bad and the characters and stuff. So we're checking out. I think we've talked at links about it, and I can't speak more without spoiling stuff. So
it's in its 5th season.
It's in its 6th final season.
It ran longer than Breaking Bad.
Yeah, they said they weren't going to do more episodes of Breaking Bad, and I think they've like kept to that. I think there was longer episodes or whatever, but
wow,
it's ending in July or starting in July, but that's cool. But man, we are the cinema twins.
We're the cinema twins. What order do you want to do these in?
Beanie Babies.
Okay.
Did you collect Beanie Babies when you were a kid?
I didn't collect anything. I wasn't a big collector. Were Beanie Babies the little dolls with the hair?
They were the ones with that said tie on the tag. Thai Beanie Babies.
I think they were ginormous. Troll dolls with the colors.
Yeah, that's
colorful hair, pink hair.
Yeah, that's trolls.
And then were they like with the little pointy thing on the top of their head?
No, they were all different animals. They were all different animals.
Oh, they were little animals.
Yeah, they're stuffed animals.
My sister had some of those.
Yes.
Okay.
I
was thinking of Teletubbies.
Beanie Mania is the name of the documentary. I think it's cool to check out. It talks about the whole run-up of where these things came from, how they became popular. It was this guy who just started selling these little stuffed animals in his toy company to like mom and pop shops. And he like started, then what happened was people started like, these are really cool, and started cataloging. There was like no official catalog. So what was really cool about the documentary is talked about like these, it was mostly like these like upper class, like stay-at-home moms started collecting these and started cataloging them and making their own magazines, and it became crazy. People were like, oh, I want these things, and collecting them, and started noticing that some started like
you get the rich stay-at-home moms on your side, you can conquer the world.
They started making buku bucks because they could say like, here's what's rare, here's what's over here, and they would call across the country and travel and like fly to different states to get certain ones. But it's a really cool documentary. It talks about like the history of all that stuff that I didn't know, like where that stuff came from. I was super into Beanie Babies. It was weird, not in the full ones. Like I did get like the regular size ones, or like the Beanie Babies that you know. What I was into was the McDonald's Beanie Babies, because I always went growing up every single day to fast food and like McDonald's and Burger King, all that stuff.
You had all the McDonald's toys, didn't you?
So I had a ton of those McDonald's toys and stuff. And I talked about in the podcast recently, and there was a book they made of all those McDonald's toys. So I wanted all of the Beanie Babies, and we traveled around the like tri-state. And like my mom would take me to different McDonald's this day, and like we gotta find the platypus, we gotta find Platty the platypus, we gotta find the Red Bull, we gotta find the penguin. Like I needed all these, and I would go in there and we'd have to like try and get them. And so a good memory that I had of getting these, and also another place you get them is my parents would set up at the flea market all the time. So I would see all of these Beanie Babies there, and like what was cool was Walmart and Toys R Us was like, hey, like we'll distribute them. And he said, no, only the mom and pop gets these. And since then, there's never been anything like that where they stay out of big box and they're like a mega big, like worldwide phenomenon, or at least nationwide. But I think it was worldwide, but they only sold to mom and pops. They said, no, like those are the people that support us, and we don't like care about the big box. Like they get your product in there and they want to discount it to hell, and no, we're not doing that. And there was interviews with Toys R Us, and they're like, they need to like put them in, and they were mad at Ty. But
when you got power over them and you can use it, do it.
So it was only mom and pop shops. So what would happen is they would call across like, hey, they would call these shops, like they would call like on the phone book all the shops, like the little mom and pop like stuffed animal craft shops and stuff, and find them.
I bet those shops love that though too.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it got kind of chaotic for them. Like they'd have to put on the sign like no more freaking Beanie Babies, or they'd answer the phone and go, we don't have any Beanie Babies. Like it became chaos for them. But funny story with Thai Beanie Babies. I'm collecting all of the Beanie Babies from McDonald's. I finally get this one that I'm missing, and I am so crazy as a kid, I keep them in the bag. I like to keep them sealed. And my cousin and my dad, and I don't know where we were going, or my uncle was driving, and he was in the back seat with me, and he was talking to my dad. And I'll never forget this. We still like laugh about it. I had been dying to get this hippo. We were looking everywhere for it. It was hard to get. And I was like, hey, Eddie, like, look, like, I got this hippo, and I was like showing him, and he took it, and he was like, and as he was still talking, whatever, and he took it or whatever, and he's looking at it, and he opened it. He thought I was wanting him to open it, and I went, no, oh my gosh, like he opened it, like I'd been looking for it forever, and he opened it, and he went, what? And I was just like, did you want it open? You want me to open it for you? He thought, because those bags were hard to open and stuff as a little kid, and I was like freaking out. But
that's not good.
Yeah, so that's the kind of kid that I was.
You still have your Beanie Babies?
Yeah, and recently I went through my parents' stuff, and I found those Beanie Babies, and this was psycho of me, but I was looking through and I was like, oh, I have all of them except number 7 on this one set. And I was like,
buy it?
I was like, where's the penguin? I don't have the penguin. Check through. Where's the penguin at? I went on eBay, bought it for $4, like free ship. It was like so cheap because those have bottomed out. Their value.
They're not worth anything.
They're not worth anything. So, but I did buy them off.
Really?
Off
Why?
eBay.
How are they worth nothing now? Are they just so many of them?
The market just kind of like the interest, and they just you if you watch the documentary, you'll kind of see.
I can see those coming back though if you can collect some.
Yeah, I think they did talk about in the documentary that during COVID, people started streaming their Beanie Baby collections, and it did like start hyping them up a little bit. So check out Beanie Mania if you're a beanie head. You watch some movies. I'm gonna let you.
I did. I watched X-Men and X-Men 2, X-Men United. Old little comic book movies. Back when Hugh Jackman was...
The only thing I remember from those movies is the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, I remember that.
The only thing I remember.
Yeah.
I'm the Juggernaut.
Yeah. I remembered that. I remembered the rogue girl that like kissed her boyfriend and he like dies or like has a stroke. Like,
I don't remember that.
She can't make contact with people. And I remember like Wolverine driving around in the snow and like his big truck and stuff, his little semi truck. And you know, I remember when I was a kid, the first one kind of scared me, but I thought it was interesting. I thought it was good. That movie is corny. That movie is super corny, but I will say like it's short. It's like 2 hours. It is like that. It was kind of the Avengers before the Avengers was what I was struck by, because it's about, it's not really about just one person. It's about like this group of superheroes, and they've kind of got like a banter, and like this guy's Wolverine's moving in on Cyclops' girl, and like, and then they get in little arguments, and then they go do a thing. That movie though, it starts in Auschwitz. And there is a little boy that is being taken from his family, and they're like,
I saw this when I was a kid, so I totally forget everything.
It looks like something out of what is that? Is a Citizen? What? Not Citizen?
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List.
Yeah.
It looks like something out of Schindler's List at the beginning of this movie, and I was like, "What am I? Did I click on the right movie?" Like, it is literally like Nazis.
Wow.
Not like Hydra or any of those. It's just like literally Nazis, and but that's how Magneto. You know, he was a kid, and so I liked the first one. One of the things I do like about those movies too is I forgot how much I liked the Charles Xavier, the guy in the wheelchair, the bald guy, and then Magneto, the older guy with the longer hair. I like that those movies. It's kind of about old people. Like it's about these two old guys that are friends, and they've been friends, but they're also enemies. Yeah, and they like have like a rivalry. Like they're both mutants, but they have like different opinions of how to navigate the political part of it. And so I liked it. You know, it's definitely corny. There's like a bad guy named Sabretooth. There's a bad guy that like looks like a toad and he's jumping around. Yeah. And Halle Berry has like an all-time stupid line in that movie. She almost has no lines in the movie. I remember her being in it. She plays Storm. She almost doesn't talk, really. She just walks around like looking hot. But she comes out and there's this guy Toad, and her ability is like lightning. And like this Toad guy's like licking people and like spitting stuff in their face. And she like comes outside like to get him. And she's like, you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? And he's like, goes like this. And she's like, the same thing as everything else. Oh my god. And then strikes it. I was like, that is one of the worst lines. Like that era of like 2000, 2001, they were getting there with like the formula to make these movies like good. It's
still corny.
But it was still corny. All that being said, then I went right back to back and I watched X-Men 2. So X-Men 2, I remember that was one of the first movies. I don't know if you have a movie like this where you go with your friend in like 7th grade, by just you and your friend by yourself to the movies to go watch a movie. Yeah. Did you have anything like that?
I felt like I did. I didn't actually like movies a lot. I watched Disney and stuff on VHS.
Really? You didn't go to the movies with your friends?
I went to the movies with my dad sometimes. Like we watched Star Wars, the prequel trilogy when those came out. But I didn't go to the theater a lot. But I did remember going with my friends.
Me and my friends, me and somebody, maybe it was my brother. We went to the movie theater down the street from our house, and I remember we were young, and it was PG-13, and we went and saw it by ourselves. Because that movie starts and it's Nightcrawler in the White House, like flipping. He's the guy that can disappear.
Yes.
And I remember watching that in theaters as a kid. Like, this is the realest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. It looks so dumb now. It is so goofy. I think that's maybe the disappointing one is X-Men 2 is, I think it was kind of a letdown compared to my memory of it. I was like, this is where they really hit their stride. This is the, whatever, the Halo 2, the Uncharted, you know, it kind of was goofy. I just would say that movie does weird stuff where it feels like it's long. It's like extra long. And the last, you get to, you know how a lot of these superhero movies, they get to like a fort or they get to somewhere at the end and it's like where the end takes place. They get there like halfway through the movie and like an hour straight is running around this dam and underground and they got like 8 different subplots and all these kids. Yeah. That's the other thing I forgot about. The X-Men movies are different than the Avengers because the X-Men are kind of like Harry Potter in that they have all these kids with them all the time. They have a school with all these kids. Yeah, yeah. So half of the story isn't really with the superheroes, it's with these damn kids. And these kids, it's like Harry Potter.
See the X-Men, not the white children.
Yeah, the little kids are running around and they've got little flames and little stuff. But X-Men 2 is very egregious with the kid subplots that are really kind of goofy. Yeah. So all being said, you know, fun movies. I've been wanting to revisit them for a while because I've been on more into Marvel. And they're part of Marvel, even though they're in their own little universe movie-wise. And wanted to revisit them. I did. I think I'm going to watch through the rest of these main ones. X-Men 3 was I thought it was a fart when I saw it in 2005. So I know it is a fart. So I'm actually looking forward to watching that one. Because it might be, hopefully it's fun. But
X-Men 3.
X-Men 1 and 2.
X-Men 1 and 2.
And X-Men 3 next.
X-Men 3 next.
And then I'm going to get to Logan, which I never saw.
Logan, I loved. Logan is The Last of Us.
It's all going to build to Logan, which is the last one I'll watch.
Yeah, you'll have a good time. I think with Logan. I loved Logan.
Oh, you know what? I also saw Doctor Strange, the new Doctor Strange. It was good. And I thought, I mean, if you care about spoilers, you know, I know you don't care.
Is this going to be spoilers?
Maybe just for 1 minute.
Spoilers for 1 minute.
Wanda from WandaVision, Scarlet Witch, she is the bad guy in this movie. She murders people. Like literally like a murderer murders people. Like makes their brain explode. John Krasinski, Jim from The Office shows up.
Is she fricked up from what happened in WandaVision?
She is fricked up
from what happened in that.
She is fricked up and she goes on a murder rampage. And what got me wanting to watch X-Men is Professor X, the guy in the wheelchair, he is in this movie in one of the alternate universes. Oh. And he's trying to stop her and get in her brain, and she like snaps his neck. Like,
oh my god,
murders this guy, this old guy from the X-Men movies. She goes on a murder. She makes a guy's brain explode, and it's almost like a horror movie. It was really good. And she, you know, at the end, you know, she kind of dies, but it was a good movie. But as a big fan of WandaVision, I was conflicted because it was the next place for her character to go. And I respect that they had the balls. They had this really successful show, and she's the main character. It's like, you know what? Yeah, she's going to be the bad guy, and she's basically going to probably die at the end of this movie. And like, I respect that they have enough characters they can do that, that they're willing. But they gave a good ending to her story in the end. And I didn't like the first Doctor Strange, but this one, they had more fun with it. It was corny. They let it be corny. Sam Raimi, the guy that did the Evil Dead movies, he made this, and he did the old Spider-Man movies. So this movie had a little bit of that tone of like the old Tobey Maguire Spider-Man that like, I think that I miss that with the Marvel movies sometimes. So it had that. That's cool. It was pretty good. So I liked it.
Cool. I was going to mention on the X-Men stuff. Did you see? I don't know if we've even talked about this. They're making a new season of that original X-Men animated show.
Well, it
is like season 2.
Really?
Yeah.
I just was watching that the other night. I didn't know that.
And they're continuing. It's just straight off from where that.
Are you serious? Because I just started watching it the other night.
They're just cool. They're just picking up where they left off.
I'll have to check that. That they should do. People should do more of that.
Now, I did hear, and I haven't gone back to confirm myself, but I love the X-Men TV show growing up, the cartoon, and I loved Batman animated series. Now, Batman animated series still holds its own today, but I've heard tons of people go, do not go back and watch X-Men.
Well, that's what I was saying. I watched 3 or 4 episodes the other night, and I was like, I was like, I'm actually good. Like, it's really rough. It's like Magic School Bus level writing. Like, it does not hold up to what I was seeing. I would even say some of the Spider-Man shows I watched when I saw No Way Home. Yeah. I wanted to go back and watch some Spider-Man shows. Some of those hold up pretty good. But yeah. I would agree with the X-Men. But I will say, in that Doctor Strange, when the Professor X shows up, he's in the old yellow.
Oh,
he's in
the cartoon.
Yeah, he's like the one from that world in that yellow cart.
Oh, wow.
And they play that X-Men theme when he shows up. Cool. It was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. We both watched a movie.
Yes.
Everything, Everywhere, All the Time.
I thought it was Always at Once. I think you wrote it wrong.
Oh, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Everything, Everywhere, all the time.
I still know the name of this movie. When we went, we just kept calling it Everywhere. And I think even you in the group chat went, what's Everywhere?
Yeah, because you guys said we were trying to get
tickets for it, and you're like, what? I'm down for Doctor Strange, but what is Everywhere? I still got it wrong. Everything, Everywhere, All the Time is what I put down. That's not it. Yeah, it's Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Good movie. It's another like multiverse kind of stuff that Doctor Strange was about, but I just kept hearing people, and it was A24, and people were like, hey, this is worth checking out. It just kept getting rave reviews, and I was like, hey, let's go to the theater to see it. Very cool. It was off the walls, like bonkers, and had all that multiverse stuff. It was cool to see. It was just a weird thing to see the little kid from Temple of Doom.
Yeah. Oh, I love
who
that.
just stayed away from acting since then, and then now he's back in one movie
his
in
performance in this movie was great too. Yeah,
and it was just it's totally fun. It'll make you laugh. Like there's just so many gonzo parts in this, and what really got me with this movie, and I was smiling like ear to ear, was like when you embrace that silliness and you have a silly, like, I won't spoil it, but, and I loved this concept where it's like when you want to go through the different dimensions or whatever, the different timelines, whatever it was, and is Everything Everywhere All at Once. When you want to like jump between that, you have to do something that is so bonkers in that timeline. Like right now it'd be like putting my shoe on my head. Like it was the most
something improbable.
Improbable will jump you to the other timeline or whatever once you're whatever. And I just love that is the thing that activates. Like it kind of felt like a goofy Matrix.
It did.
It felt like a goofy Matrix. That's how like they have to go to the they have to go like on the phone lines. That's how you log in and log back in the Matrix. This was what's something crazy in the timeline. Well, then there was somebody like calculating that in the Matrix thing and was like, okay, you have to like go and like
give yourself 5 paper cuts.
Give yourself paper cuts. Go do this, or like tell that person you love them. Like crazy things, and that will get you off, into the next timeline. But it creates chaotic situations and a really, really funny scene. A really just like out there gonzo scene.
It was good physical comedy too.
Yes, it was very funny.
We don't get enough of these. Like I feel like a lot of movies underutilize physical comedy. Like really funny, just actions and things.
Yeah, so this has it. So I loved it. I had a great time.
Had good heart. Had very good heart. The family had a interesting dynamic that you wanted to kind of see where it would go. And I really the kid from Temple of Doom, the scenes with him and the wife at the end, when they're talking to each other in all the different timelines, and kind of summing up their character arcs and why they're doing what they do, that stuff was really good. And they do,
and without spoiling it, if you like the last Evangelion movie, you'll like this.
Yeah.
If you it gets head spacey, and I really appreciated that in this movie and loved it. I think they went silly with it too, which is good.
Definitely some Evangelion.
Silly Evangelion.
And the other thing I would say is I feel like, and Doctor Strange did this, like when you fly through different dimensions in movies, sometimes they'll show one that's like That's so crazy. Like in Doctor Strange, they're flying through and it's like different worlds or a comic book version of them. Then there's one where they're just like paint.
Yeah.
But when movies do that, it's always like for a second and then it goes. This movie does one that's like it does it and it shows it and then it goes back. That is like you can't really make a scene out of this. It's so like nothing. Yeah. And they sit in it. And it really, that was a very, very affecting scene, I think.
That was a really cool scene.
Yeah. It gets very experimental.
Yeah. And I
appreciate
really liked it. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Watched another documentary, Life of Crime, 1984 to 2020 is the name of it. And this documentarian, documentarian.
Documentarian.
Doesn't sound right, but I guess it's documentarian. Follows these like group of people, like 3 or 4 people, or whatever, from 1984, and they're really into like they'll go and steal stuff from stores, and he's got like a hidden camera in 1984, and they're going into stores and they're like picking stuff and putting it in their pockets and putting in bags and like watching the front thing and running out with it, and then they'll go and resell it to like this mom and pop shop down the street, and they'll get quick money to go like do drugs and do this like and whatever. And they follow them all throughout the year. And I guess I did look that like in 1994, it was like 1984, they did release like Life of Crime 1 and then they released Life of Crime 2 in like 90s, but now it's like this is the finished thing, Life of Crime or whatever. Like they stopped following whatever.
Is the person making the documentary the one committing these crimes?
No.
Okay.
He is just there.
He's saying, I'm going to film.
Yes, he's like, what is their life like? Like, what does this life of crime basically? That's the whole. I mean, it's like that's the name of the documentary. But it follows them around and goes like, what is their life like? You get to see the failures of the U.S. like prison system and capitalism and everything in one. Like you get to just see like. You watch it in real time, like you can't deny it. Like over that, the 40 years or whatever, you're watching this and going, "Oh, they're screwed." Okay, this person's out of prison and he wants a job, but they don't hire felons. Okay, he has to go back to stealing. Now he's back in jail. You know what I mean? Like it's a cycle, and it was really, I talked to somebody that I know that's like a social worker. And when I was talking with them, I was like, "Yeah, blah blah this," and as I was telling them, I was like, well, you know all this already. Like they're like, I was like, this is like me telling you about something about cameras. And they're just like, I get it. Like, I was like, this is really bad. Yeah. And they can't get a job and like the cycle and you get to see it like in real time. Life, like, fall apart.
Everything where someone say, well, you just do this then. You can't
pull yourself up by your bait strap. So it's like, when you watch this, you're like, well, they go through every door and every choice, and it's like, well, they're screwed. Like, it's so, and so you're like rooting for these characters, and then you're like, oh, they mess up, or they get back on drugs, or they go back to jail, and you're like, and you root for them, and they do this. This movie has the absolute biggest punch in the gut. It felt like a truck hit me at the end of this movie. It is an absolute destroyer. It was one of the most sad things I've ever seen. Tears exploded out of my eyes, Looney Tunes style.
Are you serious?
At the end of there's a part of this movie.
That is the ending.
There's a part at the very like end of this movie that absolutely decimated me. But this movie is also something that like I think that this movie has like drug use and stuff. It would never fly, but I wish that like kids could see this movie.
Yeah.
Because it not only does it show like the failure of the system, it does show like if you do this stuff, it's a spiral to the bottom. Like it is a spiral to the bottom. It's a spiral. Like you get to see in real time, like that choice did that, and you can like look back in the documentary and like scroll and go like, yep, that did that, and that led to that, and like these people did this choice, and it just is a step down, step down, step down, and you're like, yeah. So for that, it's like this is a very important. It's like I feel like every person should see Life of Crime.
I might watch it based on what you're saying.
One of the best.
It's on Netflix.
It's an HBO special.
Okay, cool. So it's on HBO Max and stuff, probably. Okay.
Yeah. So, Life of Crime, check it out, but be prepared to be gut punched.
Sounds
Just
like
be in the mood. I was not expecting it.
That's a lot of stuff I'm interested in. Those like how the justice system sucks and all this stuff.
And it's just interesting to see from a person's life in 1980s and what are they doing now? What are they doing the next year?
Yeah.
And you get to see okay, now they're out of jail. Okay, they're back. They're okay. They're getting their life together. All that stuff. But it was interesting and extremely ungodly sad.
Man.
We saw last night.
Yep.
Top Gun Maverick. And I'd never seen the first Top Gun, but I just went straight into this. I don't think there was any much plot stuff that we were missing in the way of Top Gun.
They don't leave a lot to the imagination.
And they showed flashback. They did good versions of remember this character? They let you see it and whatever. But this movie, you know how, and this is in its own lane, but you know how when they made Samurai Cop 2 or they tried to recapture that magic.
Yeah.
That's what this movie does really well of it's almost surreal to see.
Yeah.
It's filmed like a mega blockbuster. It's got a full budget, like a movie, AAA budget or whatever for a movie. But the acting and the writing and everything feels like an 80s movie.
It does.
It's almost like a Crash Bandicoot remake.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like PS1, all the stuff, the gameplay, but it's in PS4 remastered.
Yeah,
it's a remastered 80s movie. Which is psycho to see. It's just they just really nailed that feeling of this is an 80s, you can't do that. That's Mach 10. You can't. Yeah. There's no way you can get that speed. There's no way. Whatever.
Or the banter of the guys in the bar, just giving each other crap, and it felt very 80s, late 80s. Yeah. I agree.
And it was really cool. The characters are fun. John Hamm plays just a mean corporal guy. You can't do this, and trying to shut him down every step of the way. And I did love that how goofy this was. They did try to. They were like, "Why are you still a captain?" He has been a captain for 40 years.
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'm where I need to be."
Yeah, I'm a decorated captain.
I'm a decorated captain. But so many funny lines in this. There was a lot of it. I think even the audience was in on it because there's people behind us. Yeah. They were like, "Guess what? It'll never be the same again." And then you turn and go, "Oh man!"
Yeah. Or there's a part in this movie where he's pushing this plane to the absolute max, and it's at 9.3, and you got to get it to 10, and he gets it to 10, and then he starts thinking about the goal was to get it to 10. He starts thinking about pushing it to 10.1, and the guy behind us says, "Don't do it, Maverick! Don't do it!" It was like a running commentary in the theater of just everybody knows what's coming.
Yeah, we're all cracking up.
And that character, he's not the most complex character, but he is just that perfect. He's going to go against the grain.
Yeah,
that's how he was in the old one. That's how he is
Maverick,
in this one. He's a Maverick.
Yeah,
and it's just a very memorable character in that way.
And that's kind of part of pop culture. You hear oh, there's Maverick. He's going on his own way or something like that. All said and done, I really, really enjoyed it. And somebody, I was cracking up on Twitter today. Somebody called, "This is the last Boomer movie." I feel like this is the Boomers. Your generation is actually dying off probably right now. This is the final one. But
I think so because there's no confliction about should we be doing this conflict, and there's no
and they don't. And when I was watching this, they don't show. They just say this is an enemy base. They don't say the country. They don't say. They don't show the face of who it is. So it's it is a very.
It's how Boomers see American military and lots of Navy jokes and
I loved it for that. It just felt.
It felt like it's from a simpler time.
Yes, we haven't got a movie like that in so long that I really, really loved it. I think if this would have came out in that time, it just would have been another one of those. But because it came out now, it is fresh.
It's a throwback
in a way because of that. It's so simple and so like America and so patriotic and stuff. But
the only other thing to touch on is the plane action, set
really
pieces,
awesome.
stunts. Incredible. And seeing it on the big screen was...
That's a way to see it. Like the planes rumble and like the planes are really loud. And see it in the theater for sure on that. And then I'll just talk about how... So this movie I get affected by movies. When we saw... Like it does frick with me. Like movies, I sit and I watch a movie and I turn my brain off and I just soak it up. And Joker... I stopped at a green light when I left from Joker. We came out, turned left out of the movie theater, and there was a green light, and I stopped at a green light because that shook me up. Joker shook me up so much. Like watching that film fricked me up, and I just was thinking on it. I stopped at a green light. This movie, I'm someone that I'm kind of like Maverick. I'm going to see it through. Like, you can't tell me I can't do anything. And I think that, that's just how my, personality
mentality.
That's my mentality is like, no, I can do this and I'll push through and we'll frick it all up. We'll get it. And so that movie is just like...
giving sugar to a little kid that's got ADHD and already has
it's a kid that's already has ADHD and you're giving him Mountain Dew and sugar and just take the whole basket of treats, kids. And we are leaving out. We had to park in this parking garage, and we go up to the thing. Well, when we went to get the tickets, they're like, "Hey, we can activate your parking little ticket.
We can validate your parking from the garage."
And I didn't really pay attention or whatever. I don't know if she didn't give me the ticket back, if she didn't or whatever. I put my receipt in the thing. I was like, "Oh, I guess this goes towards it." So we got out. Like, we're going to where they block you out. You got to pay.
To leave the garage.
Or you can leave the garage. You got to pay. So I'm holding up. They're like, scan QR code, but it's like, insert ticket. And I was like, well, I have a QR code, and I'm scanning this one. Insert ticket. Scan the other one. You have to insert your ticket. And I was like, well, this isn't working. And you suggested, you're like, the security thing is right back here. We can see it from
directly behind the car.
Yes, directly behind the cars. They're back there. They'll have an answer. They can let us through, or we can pay them or whatever. And he runs back and he comes back in and he goes, they said it was impossible.
Yeah, he looked at me and said, there is no way out of this garage without your ticket. So you got to go get your ticket. And I was like, he doesn't have it. This was hours ago.
Yeah, we don't have the
lady
ticket.
didn't give it. He said, your car cannot get out of here without a ticket. So I told Zach, I was like,
you come back in and that's my choice is it's impossible. There's no way out. I have to have my ticket. And I go into Tom Cruise mode. I go, it's impossible. It's impossible? Yeah, you got to have the ticket. He said there's no way without a ticket, and we don't have the ticket. So my options are like, it's impossible. And I went, no, I'm getting out of here. No, I'm going to get out. So I looked to my left, and there's a truck. And I throw it in reverse. Throw it in reverse, and Travis is going, no, don't do it. Man, I don't think you should do this. And I'm going, we're getting out of here. I said, no,
I was like Rooster in the back of your plane. Like, what are you doing? This is a short runway. We're
about to hit 10 G's. So 100 G's or whatever it is. But I throw it in reverse. There's the 3 lanes. Throw it back. I go behind this truck. The truck is pulling out as I get whatever. I throw it in drive. And I speed up to the truck and ride his butt out of there. And
oh my gosh.
And I make it, and we are squealing.
We were screaming
and cracking up, and we got out of there, and I was just like, "Don't tell me I can't hit Mach 10. We're going Mach 10. Like we're getting the mission's possible, John Hamm." So
that movie went right into your veins.
Yeah, and I was laughing, and I went, "That is not a movie you show me. That is not a good thing for me to watch."
You would run through a brick wall after seeing that movie.
So, and I do have a dash cam, so I do have video evidence. Cops, you cannot get that evidence, sorry. But I already destroyed the tapes. The tapes have been destroyed. But we watched it, and I have a front and a back cam. I didn't show you the back cam.
I haven't seen that.
The back cam, that comes through, and that was coming down.
I know, it had to have been.
And it stops. There was a safety thing.
Okay, so it didn't hit your car.
But it came right on my, right where my trunk, and I was doing Mach 10 out of there.
Because I was shocked it didn't end up hitting your car. Oh,
but dude,
gosh.
it was coming, and I hit Mach 10 and got us out of there. But the window to get out of there is very small.
Very small, because you whipped it. You whipped it.
And I don't know what came over me. Like, it just activated in me when you told it, it's impossible, we have to get a ticket. I was like, I am too old to be freaking with this. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason old people are just like, nah, I'm not doing this. Like,
you broke the matrix for me because I was like, I guess we have to go find that ticket. Like, and you said, no, we don't. And you just did it. I was like, you just like changed the rules.
Yeah.
You like, it's like in a video game when you like glitch out of the level. Like, you just like got us out.
When those guys said that nobody can get over Mach 10, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
We'll find it out. So we'll figure out a way. So that went to my head.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick was so good, it made me, I stopped at a green light for Joker, but this I went on a barricade. So total opposite.
Those are complete. I will say Top Gun Maverick and Joker are actually diametrically opposed movies. They're about as opposite as you could get.
So that's our podcast for the month. Hope you enjoyed. What have you been playing? What have you been watching? Anything crazy? Did you see Top Gun Maverick? Did you get a little wacky after you watched it?
Share with us what you did.
Start running red lights. I don't have to stop at any of these. But yeah, anything else you want to add?
No. I'm looking forward to beating Elden Ring soon, and we'll be seeing you guys soon. Maybe next month, right?
Next month, we've got the Xboxes in Bethesda show stream. Okay. We're going to be streaming that live reactions.
Some Starfield.
Might be, yeah, I think we'll be seeing some Starfield for that. That got delayed to 2023.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It did.
That got delayed to 2023. But we might see more gameplay of it, something like that, maybe. And then we'll be streaming the Summer Game Fest. And then along with, we'll be doing the Hangouts every Thursday. And I feel like my little video game stuff show or video game haul, checking out thrift stores, checking out these are the second episode. I found 5 Wiis over the weekend. Like, I had so many Wiis surrounding me, it was crazy. So
I want to buy one of those off you.
Okay, I don't have enough. No, but yeah, I think I might do those monthly and put together a little video every month. Like, here's what I found or whatever. But so now the pressure's on. I got to find games. But that's more of that, and who knows what else we'll be seeing.
Who knows what we'll see.
We'll see what we see. So thank you for watching the DweeBros podcast. Check us out, DweeBros, on Twitter and Twitch. All those fun channels, and YouTube. Probably what you're watching on. So thank you. Like, subscribe, and you can hit Mach 10 if you want to. And
always an option.
And if you're really fast, you can get into those parking barricades.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're coming to you after.
Quick addendum. We're putting right in here. He's gonna edit in here. We didn't talk about the Halo freaking TV show.
I watched the entire Halo show.
He watched it all. I got to see. I was here reading articles of what was happening in the show. First up, when we talked about this last time, we got to see his face for some reason. Okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yes.
But you have seen the show, so you go ahead and tell your thoughts, and then I have some thoughts on what I've seen.
So the Halo show, I was open-minded to it because when they said the first episode they were going to show his face, I was like, well, this is just going to be a different thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not really, that worried, if they change stuff. I don't think I was prepared for how not Halo this Halo show was going to be. It is so not Halo. Like, it is... There was a stretch from the first episode to the 5th episode where there were no Covenant. Like, there was no... He didn't fight Covenant.
Yeah.
Like, there was no fighting with Covenant. And there's only 9 episodes. Yeah. A grunt popped on screen at the end of the 5th episode for, like, a fight. And I was like... Oh, I'm watching Halo. Like, I forgot. Remember. So basically, the way this show goes down is the show starts off on a weird foot immediately because Master Chief is like, they lean into like he's a trained killer for the military. More than he is like this really good like soldier that saves the day. He's like a killer, and they ask him to kill a little girl in the first episode, and he's starting to go do it, and then like he touches this artifact, and it makes him kind of freaked up, and so then he's kind of like doubting, and then he takes his helmet off to show the little girl, you know, like who he is. And then, like, all this crazy stuff happens. He takes this little girl to, like, a Mass Effect planet that's a mining colony. And so he's walking around in his Master Chief armor in this mining colony. And they meet up with this guy. He looks like Dave Chappelle. And he's got, like, a big messed up arm. And they hang out with him on his, like, Great Gatsby planet.
Was it kind of like Mandalorian?
It's kind of like cheap Mandalorian. Like, it's Mandalorian. Like when I was a kid, and like my mom bought. You ever see the movie A Way Home with like the animals trying to find their way home? Yeah. Well, I wanted to watch it, and my mom was trying to buy it for me, but she bought me something at the grocery store. Yeah. And it was not A Way Home. Like it was them filming those same animals in somebody's backyard. Yeah. It was like that of Mandalorian, because he drops the girl off with this Dave Chappelle guy, and there is in this show an entire episode of this little girl. She's like 15 on this planet she's from, in the desert. She's doing drugs with these witches, and like Master Chief isn't even in the whole episode. No Covenant, no, it's just this girl against these like Nazis on her planet. It is the most bizarre show, and I'll show you a clip later. There's a scene where she hallucinates, and she wake up, and it's Master Chief, and they like fight him. And she tries to fight him, and he beats his girl. He beats her. He punches her in the face. And there's like this crazy like hobo guy with no teeth like crawling around.
What's happening? Do you think that why video game movies and TV shows keep getting into this dark place? Is it because nobody on the writing team plays the game? Takes 10 hours to play the game?
I think they made the conscious decision they didn't want to make it like the game. But 343, the people that own Halo and make the games, I didn't realize they co-produced the show.
Oh, wow.
They were involved in the show. So the people that are
making the game.
Yes. And I also didn't realize this is still the same one that Steven Spielberg announced.
10 years
ago. Is that same, it's been through hell, but it's like the Top Gun thing where they kept restarting it. But, okay, so...
Is Steven Spielberg involved at all?
He's executive producer. But, okay, but here's the real, like, crux of this show is, it's the UNSC in the show, they are evil dirtbags. They are like the bad company from Half-Life. Yeah. Like, they're evil. Captain Keyes is evil. The doctor, he's married to Dr. Halsey. She is evil. Her daughter with Captain Keyes is Miranda Keyes. She's also a doctor. She's kind of nice, but like it is like madness. They're experimenting on kids and stuff, and this like blonde lady, Dr. Halsey, stole Master Chief. Half of the show is Master Chief going to his home planet. He never wears his armor, almost at all. There's a scene, he puts his helmet on, he rides his warthog like for literally 20 seconds, and he gets back off and he takes the helmet back off. He's constantly off, not wearing the armor, not wearing the helmet, but he's walking around his childhood home. And I don't do this. I never do this. I was like scrolling Twitter while this was on, and then I would just look up because nothing was happening. Yeah. And he's walking around his childhood home, and they're using like these drones to recreate his parents, and he kept drawing artifacts. They're like, "No, John, no!" And they like were taking him away, and they bury all of his drawings. And so Dr. Halsey, the way that she stole him was, she stole him and replaced him with a clone that was designed to die of cancer, like exactly. Or of a stroke exactly 1 month after. So they stole him, but then replaced him, and then his parents died thinking he died of a stroke, and he's upset about that. And so all of this stuff is crazy. And then the Covenant stole this little girl. Yeah. And they brought her to their world to grow up. Why did they steal the girl? They said she was a chosen one. Okay. So they brought her to their world, and she has a little energy sword as a fingernail that she pops out. She stabs it. It's a little energy sword, and she stabs people with it. and then there's a scene. She and John, I don't even call him Master Chief. She and John fall in love, kind of, because like she goes back to the UNSC to get saved.
With the little girl?
No, she's an adult now, but she was stolen as a little girl, and the Covenant are sending her like, go get this thing from them, whatever. Go. You're a human. You go and then come back and bring this thing back to whatever MacGuffin. So she goes and she gets on this like ship and she acts like she's like getting captured, like, oh, save me, and then she like stabs this guy with her little thing, and then she could, for only one scene, she like summons the flood, like with her voice, and they eat up all these people, and then that's never addressed again, and it never happens again.
Oh, wow.
None of this is on a Halo, by the way. None. They do not physically go to a Halo in any of this at all. So then she gets captured, or she gets saved by Master Chief, and she's like, I only want to talk to him, which is like sketchy, right? But then when she starts talking to him, it's like, she's like, I don't like the Covenant, and I don't like the humans. She's like, I think me and you are the next step in evolution. I had a dream. This is episode 7 of 9. I had a dream we were together in a new world. And then he goes to sleep and he has the dream, and it's like the Halo. It's her and him standing naked on the Halo.
Yeah.
It's like the new humanity. And then he has a dream and they come back together the next day. And they have sex.
Yes, this is
what
I
have
heard.
sex. Master Chief
not only that, I kept seeing the title loses virginity.
He loses his virginity. With a spy. With an alien spy.
Yeah.
But then something happens and the doctor sends all the Spartans against Dr. Chief, Master Chief, and then he fights them, and then the very last episode they go and they try to steal an artifact or whatever, and Cortana in this show is weird. Cortana is a clone at first. They make a clone. She's a woman. And then they liquidate her brain. She's alive for only one episode, and they liquidate her into a chip. So like it starts as a literal woman, and then she knows she's going to die, and they like kill her. Oh. And so there's a lot of cloning in this show. But then Cortana, the whole thing is Cortana is this thing that they're threatening they're going to replace his brain with if he doesn't stop having his feelings. And then in the last episode, Cortana does it, and Master Chief dies, and she is now Master Chief's consciousness. So there isn't even a Master Chief now. And the only part that had a halo was their dream. They never actually went to it. There is never like the Pillar of Autumn, and then they go into the halo.
They should have called it Fingernail Energy Sword.
Yeah,
that's what we're in the show.
So and the girlfriend, the alien girl, she ends up dying because one of the other Spartans shoots her because she's grabbing a thing and effing them up. So the Halo show, really, really shitty. But I will say I did have like it was like a weird like trip to take. I'm glad I watched it.
I mean, that first episode where he takes off the mask, it's like, wow, you really just broke the first rule for no reason. Well, I'm in, but like, what are you going to do with it? I just kept seeing titles. Master Chief lost his virginity in the show, and I was like, whoa, like, what is going on?
They took their own path, and you kind of said earlier, like, well, why does this happen with like video game movies and stuff? I don't know why.
They should play the game, but they're actually making the game.
Yeah, it reminds
they were involved.
Yeah, it reminds me of like early superhero movies with like Catwoman, when like they just have no idea. Yeah. They're just making up the names of the people. They're not using stuff from the comics. So, yeah, this was a bad show, but it was wild. It was wild. There are all of 3 discrete scenes that actually are like Master Chief on the battlefield.
Can you see weird props or something?
The whole set design and stuff is really rough.
Well, you said something before we started recording that.
Yeah. So Dr. Halsey gets fired from the UNSC for doing cloning shenanigans and stuff, and she moves into this apartment with her little bitch boy, a little guy that like is her assistant, and she's in this apartment, and it is, I believe, 1-to-1 Padme's apartment from Attack of the Clones, where Padme was sleeping and the slugs were coming, and then like Obi-Wan jumps out the window after the robot. It is that room. Like it is 1-to-1, and there are parts that look like the prequels kind of.
Had to save the budget. They went back to these other sets.
Yeah, this show was it was a misadventure for sure.
That's crazy. So that's Halo.
Halo.